Hi there, and welcome to the first official episode of Emma Anais Talks. This podcast was actually meant only for myself, but if you're listening, that means that I actually had the courage to finally post it online, in public. And here's the thing. I wasn't planning on making this episode perfect. In fact, I've been putting this podcast off for like a year now, and I wanted to start, but it just didn't work out for me. And then suddenly I started privately making podcasts for my own. And then now here I am. And maybe that's something I want to talk about in another podcast, why I actually kept postponing this, because let's be honest, if you know me, I love yapping a lot. But yeah, this episode, I just want to talk about why I left everything behind and why I think more people might feel the same, even when we never say it out loud. And so many of us are scared to hit pause and scared to be the only one who says, this isn't working for me. But what if that's exactly what you actually need to say? And in this episode, I want to walk you through 3 things that make me this decision. And first of all, the moment that it changed for me, like what changed, everything changed for me at this turning point. And second of all, I want to talk about why I started like questioning who my people really are. And finally, I also want to talk about why I chose this sabbatical and why I actually also think other people need that too. So let's start about the turning point. I've always been the most structured person ever. Like literally, if you know me in person, I plan everything. I save a lot of money. I calculate literally every risk. So when someone like me suddenly takes a sabbatical, something actually must shift it like very seriously. Let me take you back to that moment. That was actually my first group trip to South Africa. I came back home, and even though I was like physically in my hometown, I felt so far away from everything and everyone. And because of that trip, something inside me had changed. And the more I traveled, like last year, I went to Valencia in France, the more I actually met people that got me without actually knowing me. And that's also when I knew I didn't want to live the life I was like constantly escaping from, because like last year I would get like these glimpses of freedom, and then I had to go back to a version of my life that actually felt fake but normal, because everyone is living that life. And that's also the moment when I started to feel disconnected from everyone and everything. And yeah, then I was also starting to wondering, who are my people? And if I'm being honest, I have a lot of friends, and yet I felt like I had no one to go to. Like if there was something with me, I don't know actually who I would go to. And to be honest with you, I've been hurt by a lot of friends and like friend groups, and more than I care to admit. And I don't say that slightly. Because of that, it actually made me emotional unavailable, and not only for friendships, but also in love. I started blocking myself, building walls, and to be honest, I didn't like that version of me. I used to be extroverted, but because of all things that happened, I became like more introverted. But here's the thing. I've always felt different. I've always felt like the third wheel, the weird one, never being the first choice. And I know a lot of people feel like that, but again, no one really talks about it. And when things went wrong with my friends, no one took responsibility. And that hurt more than the actions itself. Because, mistakes happen, we're all human. But here's the thing, if you can't own them, what kind of connection is that? Like, that's not the friendship I want to have with people. And going to the other side of the world helped me see things more clearly. Like, the distance showed me who stayed even in silence, and that meant everything. Like, now I do know who actually cares about me. And I didn't take a sabbatical to run away. I actually took it because I wanted to find peace. And after 6 months, I can actually say that I found peace. But let's go back to the first month of taking that sabbatical, and that was in Bali. And at first I thought I was healed in Bali, but just actually, to be honest, it was just a better environment. When the problems came back, it actually hit me harder, and I had to face the truth. What's the problem? And the problem is me. And guess who I brought with me on this trip? Me, myself, and I. So, yeah, it was actually hard to face that not only like changing the environments is already a good step, but it will not fix all of your problems. And it was actually after 2 months of Bali, I had like time to reset and like rest. So that was also very effective. But it was just when I went to New Zealand that for the first time in years, I felt present. And I had no space left for overthinking, and being forced to just be here, like be present. That was actually one of the best things that ever happened to me, because I can't actually remember the last time I was present. And also something that was constantly on my mind when I was in New Zealand, I wanted to work on my business, but I knew, and I kept saying to myself, I paused my business. But in reality, I never did that, because I kept carrying it like in the back of my mind until yesterday. Literally, yesterday, something in me snapped. I realized I actually need full space for me. And I thought my structure, like my business, it was a bit too complicated to pause it officially. And I thought it was like a lot of paperwork and it would cost me tons of money to pause it. But in fact, I actually found like a solution. And I don't know why I didn't find it easy, like earlier, but I'm actually glad I found it yesterday. And now yesterday, I literally sent an email to the government to ask them for like a pause and like putting my business inactive. So it's not like completed yet, but I already feel the peace, because now it's like officially I can pause my business. And let's also be real about full-time traveling, because everyone thinks, oh, full-time traveling, that's so nice. And it actually sounds more romantic than it is, because if I'm being honest, traveling is so exhausting. I've been traveling for 4 months without having like a fixed home. And let me tell you, that was so exhausting. I'm very grateful still for that. Like, it is a nice opportunity. Like, I'm not complaining about that. But, I'm an introvert. I love being home. I'm literally like, I love being grounded. And this sabbatical, it was never about traveling for me. It was about the space I needed to clear my head and to just figure out, who am I? Who am I without my business? Who am I as a person, like separated from the environment I used to live in? And what I really want to say with all of this, it's okay to choose yourself, even if nobody gets it. And honestly, most of the time, they won't. And that's okay too. So yeah, that's actually the most important part I wanted to talk about. I can't believe this is like already the end of the first episode. And if you made it to this point, I just want to say thank you so much. And if anything of what I've just told in this episode, just let me know. Please send a DM to me. And just knowing that someone is out there listening to this, that actually means the world to me. So yeah, I would say it was nice having a chat with you, even with like the fact that I'm chatting to my phone, but that's totally fine. Yeah, I would say it's still a bit weird to do this officially because now I feel a little bit more pressure. But at the other hand, I still feel like I'm just like talking to a friend, and I'm not gonna listen to this episode again, because if I do, probably I'm not gonna post it because my English is still not perfect and I pronounce sometimes words differently or I like not making good sentences. But whatever, this is all about doing things imperfectly. And yeah, I think we can stop the recording here, and I just gonna say goodbye and see you in the next episode. Bye!